Okay, people. So what I'm going to do at the moment is bring this to one side. You can see from this screen, I've got a question. Now, I'm going to run through a few things, including a video from Tucker on Fox News last night, Nigel Farage, and a number of comments. I'm also going to talk about something else, which again is on my Facebook page. Now, I've asked a question, a simple question. It's gone over Twitter. It's had loads of retweets and from America. And I am putting a question to the Brexit Party, in particular, the Brexit Party equals duplicity. Why do I say that? There's two court cases. There's a court case currently in the High Court. It has been put forward by Robin Tilbrook, a solicitor, a constitutional expert. He has two barristers currently employed and accepted the brief, and the money raised by normal everyday people has been put. This is about the rule of law. Now, why is there duplicity here? Because Nigel Farage on a radio show, LBC, some weeks ago, poo-pooed the case and said that basically he doesn't believe in the Constitution, first of all. Any Americans out there will not like that at all. So I think he should be quite honest. He's not being honest with the American public, and he is not being honest with Donald Trump, President Trump. The next thing I'm going to say to you, quite simply, is that he said he doesn't trust our judicial system, which is quite serious for someone, who's the leader of a political party to say that our judicial system is corrupt, right? Whether or not you watching this think he's right or not is irrelevant, yeah? To say that, and here's part of the duplicity, and then I'm going to show you something else, right? Because I think people should be aware of this. Someone then asked him a question on Monday night, I believe it was, and basically said to him, there is an SNP politician in Scotland who has said that you and the Brexit Party are money laundering. This is nothing more than a money laundering scam, right? Okay. Let's just look at that. What did Nigel Farage say? He said, we are currently speaking to Queen's Counsel barristers about libel, slander of myself and the Brexit Party, right? And potentially issuing proceedings against that SNP politician. So on one side of the fence, when it comes to standing up and protecting the country, he has said quite simply, I don't trust the courts. And then yet he is for his own vanity, yeah, said that I do trust the courts when it comes to my character or me, right? So let me just put this as a phrase to you. Nigel Farage is about vanity, not about sanity for the country. Yeah, he is about his own vanity for his own character. He certainly has not done you or anyone else any favours, right? So there's the question. It's up there in front of you. It has not been answered. Now, what I'm going to do now, people, is I'm going to take you to two elements which I think are important. The first, and let me just, okay, right, so this is what I'm going to show you currently. We've got this meeting in the European Union Parliament, and there's a number of people there. Now, I'm just going to read out this to you because it's really important. There's a guy, his name is Stuart Agnew. He's a member of the European Parliament, and this is what he says happened. Nigel Farage conversation in camera, right? So, no, many of you on the daily list will have a report doing the rounds, purporting to be by the UKIP MEP Stuart Agnew. Here is that report, okay? Stuart Agnew, MEP's report on Farage shenanigans in the European Parliament. Now, I want you to listen to this because I'm then going to go over to the Tucker interview, right? Stuart Agnew's MEP's report on Farage's shenanigans in the EU Parliament. The main highlight of the week was a surprise invitation to attend a conference of presidents as the substitute of the ENF group leader Nicholas Bay. This event is held monthly and comprises the leaders of the 8 political groups, right? Chaired by Tajani, the President of the Parliament. They usually discuss parliamentary procedure. So it's quite a big meeting, yeah? On Wednesday, an emergency meeting was called just ahead of Theresa May's visit to grovel for yet another extension. The President wanted to consult the leaders of the groups, so it's quite an important meeting, before he himself attended the European Council meeting to sound out the views of Parliament. If 30 years ago someone had said to me that on the 10th of April 2019 I would be personally consulted as one of the 9 most senior members of the European Parliament on my view as to whether the EU should grant an extension, listen to what this meeting was about, to the UK to remain in the EU, I would have pointed to a flying pig. Nevertheless, there we all were. Each MEP had their group's most senior civil servant beside them, plus all the inevitable Parliament secretarial sidekicks, sycophants and hangers-on, etc. Each MEP was asked in turn whether they thought an extension would be granted. Should be granted. There is a pecking order here, with the leader of the largest group, Manfred Weber of the EPP, being consulted first, and so on. None of the first 6 leaders objected to an extension, but some insisted that full EU rules must apply to all UK citizens, and others that any interim conditions agreed by Theresa May could not be revoked by another UK Prime Minister. It was then Nigel Farage's turn. Now listen to this, people. It was then Nigel Farage's turn to speak. Leader of the EFDD group, followed by myself. Following Farage as a speaker is very much a graveyard slot, and I was wondering how I could hold anyone's attention after one of his barnstormers. What he said, however, utterly astonished me. The meeting was in camera, which means it is not broadcast. He stated he wanted an extension of Britain's EU membership so he could parade the candidates of his new party. I have known him for 20 of the 25 years that he has been campaigning against the EU membership. To hear him say he wanted to remain in the EU when there was a genuine opportunity to leave 48 hours later was akin to hearing Geoffrey Boycott saying he would support a Lancashire against Yorkshire. It was the very last thing I expected. Now, there's the paragraph, people, right? Now, if you go back up here to the first paragraph, it tells you what this meeting was about. Nigel Farage could have said in that meeting, we absolutely do not and will not agree to an extension. Instead, he said, I want an extension. Do you not see duplicity here? It did at least give me a chance to say what he should have done, and with a fair degree of passion, the main thrust of my statement was that whilst many British MPs were frightened of self-government and of so-called cliff edge, I could remember Brentry as voting adult in 1973 and the days when the EU did not interfere in British government. I outlined a list of examples of interference with each passing treaty and how increased interference made Britain more difficult to govern, not easier. I urged the President to urge Donald Tusk to expel the UK from the EU so that we could forget politics and start talking trade. My intervention was not well received. Now, listen to that statement. We've got two positions here. One is Nigel Farage, could have said no extension. We would have been, it would have put them under pressure and we could have been out. We've got a court case before our Royal Courts of Justice, right, that does exactly this, that literally says, that's it, right? Now, I'm going to explain that when I show you the video. I am now concerned that touring the country giving such eloquent, engaging, enjoyable and entertaining anti-EU speeches has become such a raison d'etre for Nigel that the prospect of all that finishing last Friday was the equivalent of the farmer shooting the huntsman's fox. People, I am absolutely at the moment shocked. Shocked is an understatement. Now I'm going to show you something else. Well, now I'm going to show you the Tucker interview, right? And I'm going to give you some thoughts on it. There you go. Make sure we've got computer sound. And are we ready? Now, don't forget what I've said about duplicity, yeah? And it's not as if everyone's asking these questions. So here goes. And then what I'm going to do is make some comments.
Last week, British voters went to the polls to vote in the European Union elections, and the results were a big victory for the brand new Brexit Party. The Brexit Party demands a very simple thing, that the British government honor the 2016 referendum to leave the EU. Britain was already supposed to be out of the EU months ago, but the people in charge have dragged their feet and are now demanding a second vote. As in the United States, democracy is only welcome when it confirms the policies chosen by people in power, in case you haven't noticed. Nigel Farage leads the Brexit Party, and he joins us tonight. Nigel Farage, thanks very much for coming on. Congratulations. And if you would, crisply for our American audience, explain why 3 years after Brexit, the UK is still in the EU.
Yeah, we voted in a referendum to leave the European Union, the greatest democratic exercise, the most voters ever in the history of our nation. We then, the next year, in a general election, voted for Labour and Conservative parties, our traditional parties, both of whom promised they would honour the result of the referendum. And the date was set. It was put into British law. We were leaving on March 29th, 2019. And guess what happened?
Right. What did he just say? We were leaving on the 29th of March 2019, by law.
We didn't leave. And they kicked the can down the road to the end of October, the 31st of October, Halloween. And I watched all of this as being one of the architects of the original Brexit referendum and vote. And I thought, I can't stand aside. I can't bear the fact we're having to send members of the European Parliament back to Brussels. So
Right, let me stop there. Now, you've just heard what he said, and now you know what Stuart Agnew has said. And by the way, he will stand up in a court of law if needed and say that's what he said, and there is an additional witness that is prepared to stand up and say Nigel Farage did say that.
So I founded the Brexit Party, and would you believe, within 6 weeks of a brand new party being set up, we topped the polls, we smashed the Conservative Party, we smashed the Labour Party.
All he's interested in is the politics. I'm interested in taking back control of my country, what we voted in, and using the rule of law in the Royal Courts of Justice. We've got a nailed-on case with 2 barristers. One is Francis Hoare. Now, what Nigel's not telling people, and he's certainly not speaking to Tucker about it, he's not publicising it. Why not? Why not? What happens if we drop out now? Everyone can start talking about trade. The country gets everything back that it's wanted, yeah? But Nigel doesn't get his way. Nigel doesn't destroy the Conservative Party. Nigel doesn't destroy the Labour Party or the Lib Dems, right? Nigel Farage, this is to every American listening to this. He's no Donald Trump, trust me.
And regrettably, I'm back here in Brussels, Tucker, after 20 years, once again as a member of the European Parliament.
So, Tucker, you think that's funny, right? This is not a dig at you, Tucker. You don't get it. This man is a con man, right? He is the man. Look at the smug look on his face. We all know what he has just said, yeah, to the president of the EU. He could have said, absolutely not. We are leaving on the 29th of March. Did he say that? No, he didn't. What he actually said was, I want an extension.
Now, I know it's complicated, but explain, if you can, how it is a liberal or progressive position to remain in the German Empire, which is basically what the EU is. Why is that considered liberal?
Because they claim that as a European Union they will deal with climate change. They claim that because they have open borders, this is the modern liberal approach to the future. What they don't tell you is they are literally killing and destroying something so important that just next week we're going to celebrate the 75th anniversary of D-Day, when America and Canada and others came to our aid, helped us liberate, Europe from Nazism, to bring back something called democracy.
Right. Let me just say, I can't believe this man, Nigel Farage, is saying all this, the duplicity of it, when he has already said, yeah, in the European Union Parliament to the President of Europe that he wants an extension.
What the European Union does, it crushes democracy, it takes decision-making powers away from ordinary people and gives it to unelected bureaucrats.
Right. Well, the head of the European Commission doesn't appear to be cutting you any slack. There's a quote, a remarkable quote, just the other day, which doubtless you saw, and I'm quoting now. "These stupid nationalists," he said, "they are in love with their own countries." It doesn't sound like people like this have learned anything from these votes.
Yeah. So, stupid nationalists. Tommy Robinson telling the truth, vilified by that man there on the right, Nigel Farage. Robin Tilbrook, ignored completely when we got a way out of this with immediate effect. Gerard Batten fought alongside that man and been stabbed in the back by Nigel Farage because his agenda is the politics, not taking your country back.
No, this is Mr. Juncker, who is President of the European Commission. That's his quote. But the people I blame...
Nigel Farage has also said he quite likes Juncker, by the way.
Aren't necessarily the Brussels bureaucrats. The people I blame are British politicians in Westminster who have not had the courage to take back the independence, sovereignty, democracy of our country. Last week...
Well, Nigel, let me tell you something. I am also blaming them and you.
I've given them the biggest seismic shock that has been seen in modern British politics, and I'll make you...
The seismic shock, Nigel, is this court case.
Give this one promise. If we do not leave the European Union on October the 31st, I will lead
This man is so disgusting.
the Brexit Party after that into the next general election.
That's all he's worried about. That's all he wants. Do you understand this, people?
And
Yes.
we will sweep away parties that have dominated British politics for over 100 years.
We could be talking to the next Prime Minister of Great Britain, Nigel Farage. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, and good luck.
See what I mean? It's unbelievable, yeah? Even Tucker is more interested in potentially talking to the next Prime Minister, yeah, of the UK. Where's the logic in what's going on here? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Can you understand why I'm angry? Because I'm telling you the truth. This man is standing up and barefaced lying to you, right? He's denied he said what he said in the European Parliament in that in-camera meeting with the president, right? He has said that he doesn't trust the courts and he doesn't believe in our constitution. He is no President Trump. He is not the solution to this, right? We can leave, and yet all of the media have blockaded any information about this court case. Now think about what happened with Gina Miller. Before it even, as soon as they thought about it, it was on the TV, let alone actually being heard. And then think about the media covering Nigel Farage, putting out the logo, allowing him on social media when everyone else is getting banned. Do you understand? Think, people. Again, I can only give you my opinion. I am frustrated at the media's ability, even in this situation with Farage, their ability to manipulate. Even Tucker and Fox News and Sean Hannity, they know, because we've sent them the information about the court case. Not interested. They would rather talk to the future Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Politics. I'm about our constitution. I'm about the rule of law. And let me tell you, something very terrible is going on here. And to vilify Gerard Batten and stab him in the back. He worked with him for over 25 years. They was founding members. And stab Tommy Robinson in the back. And to allow and not mention the fact that Tommy Robinson was having the police give an escort to the people that were throwing bricks and eggs at him when there was kids about and everything. Something seriously wrong, Pete. Right, that's it. Don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. Don't forget to support Robin Tilbrook and the court case. Don't forget to support the two barristers, Francis Hoare and Gunnar Beck, who I now believe has been elected to the European Parliament, representing Alternative for Germany, AfD. He is hated, absolutely hated by Merkel, absolutely hated by the European Commission, and he is also one of the panel barristers, so is Francis Hoare, of Lawyers for Britain. So if you think we're not doing anything, we're doing everything we can. You're the people supporting us. I need you to share this video. I need you to put this video on every single platform you possibly can. This isn't about me. All I am is a messenger. Let me tell you something, people. I don't want to be the Prime Minister of the UK or the Prime Minister of anywhere. All I want is my liberty and my freedom back. I want my country back, and I want to walk away from these corrupt politicians. But we can deal with them after this court case. Thank you, and see you later.